I just want to give you a little bit of background about Utah, just to kind of set the stage a little bit. I always like to do that. Utah's a special place, interesting place, a different kind of place. A lot of places where I say that, I get a little laugh when I say Utah's a different kind of place, so feel free to if you'd like to. We're a small state. We have about 2.5 million people. We have a pretty small program, a pretty small federal program, about 350 million, about 1,650 employees. Our unemployment is about 6% right now, so we're doing pretty good if you look at us compared to national statistics there. We have a really big transportation program, even right now with the downturn in the economy. We have over 250 projects, and we have just over $3 billion worth of construction going on. So you think about that, how do we get from a point where we had, we only get 350 million in federal program to having 3 billion? The answer is our legislature is very committed to transportation and has been very good about funding UDOT. I got to be careful here. If I say we, it's a residual from being a Utah Department of Transportation employee for 25 years. I now work for a different firm that's called Applied Research Associates, and we're doing a lot of, Applied Research Associates is doing a lot of work with the Federal Highway Administration. So I don't mean to be confusing when I say we. I'll try to make sure that I say UDOT instead of saying we, but if I mess up, please forgive me. UDOT has, this is a slide that Carlos Braceras came up with. UDOT has this need for speed. They're always trying to accelerate their projects and do things faster. And accelerated bridge construction was one of those things that UDOT did to accelerate all parts of their construction program. They're a customer-driven culture. They're willing to take risks, and they lead the nation in trying to implement a lot of new technologies. They have done a lot with accelerated bridge construction. They are one of the first states to do some stuff with accelerated pavement construction. They're implementing diverging diamond interchanges, and they're always trying to increase partnerships with the industry. So these are just some of the ways that UDOT's kind of a special place. UDOT also has these department themes with every project, and Carlos and John always talk about how every project will look to accelerate the delivery of the project, decrease and minimize the detours or delays to the traveling public, encourage innovation that speeds the project or provides value, and get a good price. And every one of UDOT's projects takes each of those themes and tries to combine it and balance those 4 themes in every one of their projects. UDOT also has embraced what they call their new business model. And this new business model that UDOT's using includes user costs as part of the cost of a project. And they don't just take the lowest construction cost anymore. They look at user costs as part of project costs. And in this new business model, societal costs are minimized. And in this model, societal cost also includes some aspects of safety costs. So that's how I finally make the tie after talking for 5 minutes, finally make the tie to accelerated bridge construction and UDOT into safety, is that part of UDOT's model with this new paradigm is that they include safety costs as part of those societal costs. So UDOT's moved from this lowest construction cost model of the past where we did low bid to looking at lowest project cost and using other alternate methods to deliver the projects, either design build, CMGC. Don't get me wrong, UDOT still does a lot with design bid build, but even in their design bid build, they're trying to figure out how to minimize societal costs. UDOT has found that this model has gotten a lot of public praise, and that from that they also have gotten a lot of political capital with that. It's one of the reasons why they've been fairly successful, very successful in getting money from the legislature, is because of this new business model they feel. Another thing that UDOT, or another thing that they always take into mind, is to reduce the number of fatalities on UDOT's roads. And this comes right off of UDOT's performance measures. This comes right off of their website. Something that they track year in, year out, something that they talk with the legislature about. And they had a goal, we started the goal about in the year 2000 to reduce fatalities by 2% each year. And you can see how successful UDOT's been in doing that. Since 2000, UDOT's fatalities are down 34%. And it's quite extraordinary, and it's something that they work on in every part of their program. So they look at how to decrease fatalities in every part of their program. What really the background of this, this presentation is today is that Shauna, as the Director of Research, embarked on a program to evaluate the accelerated bridge construction program and to look at what's happening with fatalities and accidents with that program. So that's what I'm going to be presenting at the end today, but in the meantime I'm talking a lot about about accelerated bridge construction. Okay, the very first, I guess UDOT's very first case study in accelerating a project was the I-15 design build project. And they started building that project. It was a huge project, 1.6 billion, 17 miles, 130 bridges, a 10-year maintenance period with it. Came out with SEP 14. The drivers for doing this project quickly included the public support. The public was quite happy that we were going to build the project in 4 years as opposed to 9. But UDOT also had the additional driver of having the 2002 Olympics at the end of the project that was encouraging them to get it done. On I-15, they provided some pretty hefty incentives for the contractor to get it done quickly, but they had incentives on quality and project management and on the detours, and then also on early completion. And the contractor had the potential to earn $50 million worth of incentives on a $1.6 billion project. So in the contractor, you all probably know the story, they earned every penny of the incentive, and they also completed the project early and under budget. There was an interesting post-mortem study that was done on the project, and it was done by Dr. Peter Martin up at the University of Utah. And if you get a chance to look it up on UDOT's test bed, I-15 test bed, if you go to UDOT's website, you can look up the report. It's really a good one. But in his report, he estimated that user cost saved, that because they did it with design build, they saved the economy of Utah, the economy of Salt Lake, over $500 million by using design build as opposed to traditional methods. Again, using this user cost model. They saved an estimated 4,400 accidents over what would have been happening with the traditional method. And also 14 lives. Now, Utah, 14 lives doesn't maybe seem a lot compared to 4,400 accidents, but Utah really tries to scramble and save every life that they can. That's part of their success in that graph that I showed there that was their performance indicator for their program. So I want to talk a little bit about what is accelerated bridge construction. How many of you have heard of accelerated bridge construction before? Quick, show of hands. That's not a good showing. How many? Come on, show me your hands. Okay, what do you say? That about half? A little bit half? Okay, so it's worth it. I guess it's worth defining accelerated bridge construction. Accelerated bridge constructions are innovative methods to decrease bridge construction time. And usually it involves some kind of building elements of the bridge off-site or outside of the traffic area and then transport them to the site and install them rapidly. That's what accelerated bridge construction is. The benefits of accelerated bridge construction. I've already talked a lot about how you minimize the traffic disruption. And in many of the projects that Utah has done to date, they've minimized that disruption from months to days. And if Chris was up here, he'd tell you that now it's even getting down to months to hours. So if I have time at the end, I'm going to show you a little video on one of those projects. Another benefit of ABC is it improves work zone safety. And I think we all can understand that because we're compressing the amount of time we're out there. That makes logical sense that we would get better performance of work zones if we shorten the duration, right? There's also a component that we increase worker safety because we can build these pieces in a controlled environment or we can build them out of the traffic. And there's some evidence from our contractors that that's the case. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence from the workers on those bridges that is a much better environment to be building in than hanging over traffic. And there's also the other benefit that you get out of ABC is you get improved product quality. Because you can build the pieces in a controlled environment, you can do the right things when it comes to cure times, all of those kinds of things, and you get a better quality product because you can take more time, basically, because you don't have the traffic that you have to worry about. This slide here, we always want to talk about cost when it comes to ABC. We built this slide because we needed to be able to talk to our Transportation Commission about why it made sense for us to spend more money to do an ABC program. And we told them that, you know, the first time we're going to do this accelerated bridge construction, it's going to cost us more. And there's always a potential for new methods to cost less. The first time you do anything is the most that it's ever going to cost. So there's always a promise of time savings, and we felt that with ABC that there would be a promise of a positive cost-benefit ratios. So we built this slide to be able to talk with them about what we thought would happen with ABC if we were allowed to do it. And UDOT kept careful track of the cost to see what happened. And sure enough, we found that what they thought, what the theory was, that we would see decreasing costs on ABC elements happened. So this is our precast, this is UDOT's precast deck panels. And the first project that they did cost nearly $60 a square foot. And the last project that's on this graph was down near $37 a square foot. And I don't have the numbers because I've retired now, but I believe that, you know, you can see that the graph's getting asymptotic, which is what you expect from these kind of improvements. But those costs are going to stay down there at 37. When we started doing this with our regular cast-in-place decks, they were at $53 a square foot. So this is something we could use. This is a way we can sell this to the commission and tell our story. Okay, so with accelerated bridge construction, it's really a family of different types of accelerated bridge construction. There's different ways to do it. On the far left, you can see there's precast concrete elements. These are like Lego bridges. In the middle, there's modular construction. There's total structural placement methods, like moving them in with SPMTs. And also in this field with ABC, you have to think about accelerated geotech work and fast-track contracting as part of the things that make the family successful. I already had this slide. I don't know. I was up until midnight preparing this. Shauna Lindsay was supposed to do this, and she was unable to make it, so she handed off her slideshow, and I don't know if you've ever had one of those, but it's interesting to kind of try and gel your thoughts with what somebody else has produced, but I had to put some extra slides in there, so I got that one in there. Anyway, this one's interesting. It says Utah ABC costs, and what it is really user savings that are being tracked on. This is on the SPMT program. Okay, so this graph represents 18 bridges now, 18 bridges, and the user costs, or the user savings, if you will, total $45 million in this graph. So again, this is another way to show the success of the ABC program is through these user savings. Now, I said at the very first, part of this model, part of Utah's user savings model includes accident savings. So part of that $45 million includes accident savings. I have a little animation that I want to show you here. This is a fairly long animation, and it's about our 4500 South project, SPMT project, the very first one that we did using self-propelled modular transports. The basic concept here, you'll get it off of the video, but the basic concept is you build the bridge off to the side, you come in, pick up the old bridge with the SPMTs, move it off to the side, set it down, pick up the new bridge and put it in place. And this is the video that we produced to explain this concept to the media prior to our first project.
with a single-span bridge that is the same size as the current one. Vehicles will continue to use 4500 South and I-215 while the new bridge and abutments are being built. The abutments, as seen from 215, will contain artistic reliefs, helping the new structure to blend in with its picturesque surroundings. During excavation, soil nail walls are used to stabilize the west and east sides while traffic moves overhead. The staging area is located between the interstate and the southbound off-ramp to 4500 South in what is known as the Ramp Gore area. The lower portion is graded to match the elevation of the southbound I-215 roadway, and the higher portion matches the elevation of northbound I-215. Temporary abutments are erected to allow construction of the superstructure, which is the primary support for the new bridge. Steel plate girders are laid across the temporary abutments, and then a cast-in-place deck is placed on the girders, along with integral end diaphragms. The completed 5-lane bridge weighs 3 million pounds, is 172 feet long, and rests on a 12% slope. A self-leveling trailer with multiple axles and wheels called a self-propelled modular transporter, or SPMT, is used to remove the old spans and move in the new one. Freight containers fill the gap between the trailer and the bridge bottom. The SPMT is controlled by remote control as the operator walks along with the trailer. Once under the northbound deck, the operator backs the SPMT out and carries the span to a demolition area. The special demolition area is located just beyond the staging area, and all demolition work will be done after the new bridge is in place and traffic is flowing again. The SPMT operator follows the same procedure for the southbound span across I-215, removing the deck and carting it off to the demolition area. The next step is to remove the rest of the old bridge and the bents. During this conventional demolition, extra care is taken to avoid damage to the new abutments on both the west and east sides. The final step before bringing in the new span is to remove the existing columns that supported the old bridge. In the staging area, near where the new span sits, a temporary ramp is set up to allow the SPMT trailers on the high portion of the staging area to travel onto the northbound roadway. The SPMTs are moved into position under the new span, and the bridge is lifted off of the temporary abutments. Jacks tilt the bridge to a 4% tilt to compensate for the 4% grade of the I-215 roadway. This allows the bridge to be level as the SPMTs travel downhill toward the new abutments. The bridge span is backed out onto the interstate while the ramp is removed so that the SPMTs can pass. And then the bridge is moved into place and set down on the new abutments. I-215 under 4500 South will be closed and reopened to traffic after one weekend. Traditional methods would have resulted in traffic impacts for 9 months. 4500 South remains closed for approximately 10 days while the abutments are backfilled and precast concrete bridge approach panels are put in place. An asphalt roadway, barrier, curb and gutter, and sidewalks are tied into the bridge. The next steps include a polymer overlay of the deck and lane striping. Once those tasks are complete, traffic is flowing freely again on 4500 South and I-215. The final step is to restore the site with landscaping. This accelerated bridge construction is expected to be complete by mid-November 2007. The benefits of accelerated bridge construction, ABC, include reduces road closure time, minimizes environmental impact, minimizes traffic disruptions, improves work zone safety, reduces on-site construction time, improves quality of construction, increases product quality, lowers life cycle costs, decreases user costs, and maximizes economic benefit. The future goal for UDOT is to help the architecture, engineering, and construction industry abroad choose the following innovative processes as the preferred method: SPMT, ABC, LD3 technology, IntelliSum, and Contract Management General Contractor, CMGC.
So you can see that was the theory of what was going to go on. I have another video here, if I can get it to play real quick.